Hey guys, today we are going to be talking about frame counting. So before we get started, let me quickly run through what that means. So frame counting, like it suggests, is just looking at each frame and counting it. And the reason that I'm talking about that in a cubing video is because of something called sliding. So here we have a normal timer, and if we use this timer as normal, we'd be holding on to the timer and then letting go and starting ourselves. However, some people, especially in 2x2, start the timer and while they're going to get the cube are still holding on to the timer with both hands, starting to do a few turns, then letting go. So it's like that kind of. And obviously then they get a little bit of an advantage, around 0.1, 0.2 seconds faster, which is not good and that's cheating. So this is an easy method to see if they're doing that or not, and you'll be surprised by how many world records are actually possibly not official anymore. They might be, they might have been cheated. So the way I found out about this frame counting method is from this video from Cubo Blindado, and I will link this video in the description, but I'll basically be using the same method as his, except you might see in this comment that there's a little bit of a better way to do it, which I'll show in the video. But anyways, thank you for Cubo Blindado for inspiring this video. So in this video, he shows how to frame count a video on YouTube. So the way we do it is, first of all, obviously get a video to frame count. So I search up 2x2 world record and let's find a random world record video. No. Okay, actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do this one. This used to be a world record single. I did not try using this video before, but anyways, you go onto somewest.com, so that's what it's called there, somewest.com, or you can go straight into the /frame-count and that'll get the same result, but we just press here, frame count, and here we are. Okay, so what we do first is, obviously, like you seen just a second ago, I copied the link. So now we paste it, and there's the video, okay? And before we do anything drastic, let's just quickly check that we're on the correct frames per second. So you can't use the settings, I thought you could, but you can't. So you right click and press stats for nerds. Thanks YouTube. Anyways, current and optimal resolution. Look at that first one at 25 frames a second. That's all we have to know. Let me just put it in here. Okay, now what we do next is we use this. So this is -10 frames, -5, -1 frame, +1 frame, +5, +10. And then obviously you have the same thing in minutes and seconds. But obviously for here, when we're frame counting, it's better to use frames. But if we want to just go through the video quite quickly, we can use this. So that might, okay, no, he is looking at the scramble. Okay, so he puts it down and then just letting you guys know, this is very dodgy hand placement. He's using his little fingers here, so I don't know about that world record first of all, but let's just quickly do this. So here is where we would have started, right? Because that's when his hands, we're not touching the timer. But what we actually do is we wait until they touch. So here, we press set end frame, and then we go back a couple of frames to see the exact moment where he left off. And at the end, we see 12 frames, 0.48, and this 0.49. So it's very consistent. This was not sliding, and even looking at the video is obvious that it wasn't sliding, although those finger placements, it looks dodgy. Anyways, that's how you do it. And now let's compare it to some of the newer 2x2 world record singles and averages. So what I've done is refresh the page and it'll go back to looking normal. I paste in the video link, and now we have the current 2x2 world record single. Now, this is not the main solve that is constituting all this counting frame talk. you know. People aren't really worried about counting frames for this video, for this record. But I still want to try it because I think I smell something fishy here, right? So, press on it, then we can do stats for nerds, 30 frames, okay? So we put that here, 30 frames, don't forget it guys. And now we have it ready. So we go up 10 frames, we go -5 frames. Okay, fair enough. This is where he would have, you know, started to let go of the thing, but we're not going from the start frame. Okay. Alright. Okay, let's put it here. Set end frame. And then let's go back a couple frames. Okay. Let's see the result. 13 frames, 0.43, and the record is 0.39. Now you'd think 0.04 seconds of a difference doesn't seem like a lot. However, in 2x2, especially with the world records, the kind of pace you have to be at to be world class in 2x2 at the current minute, that's a very big gap. So honestly, it doesn't really look, here let's just zoom in here, it doesn't really look like he's sliding here. I wouldn't say he is. That hand looks a lot closer than, I mean, that hand looks like the pinky's kind of holding on, but this one looks like it's completely off. I don't know. I'm not 100% worried about this being sliding. It's suspicious, but it's not what I'm worried about. 0.43, and this obviously is 0.39. So yeah, crazy stuff. But let's get on to the Yihang Wang 2x2 world record average. And I was gonna make a video about it, but I realized that there might have been a cheating scandal going on, and it probably won't even count as a world record anymore. So we are back, and we have the URL to the video that was actually in the Cubo Blind Dado video. So this is the 0.83 world record. First, obviously, we check for the frames per second, 30. So we put it accordingly. And now, let's just stop wasting the time with explaining it. Let's just go straight into it. We go to the end. Okay. Okay, he definitely stopped here. Set end frame. Now let's go back a lot of frames. Oh, do you see that? That looks like sliding. That's what sliding looks like. Anyways. Okay, in fairness, look, this is what my rules would have been for doing this type of frame counting. You only start frame counting when they touch the cube. That's a little bit too easy for him. You gotta start when it looks like they would have let go of the timer. So here, I mean, he's touching the cube. Surely he's not touching the timer anymore. That's 100% sliding if he's still, you know, if he, you know what I mean. Anyways, 0.96 for the time. However, the actual thing is 0.85. 0.96 versus 0.85, and that's not even that big of a difference compared to the world record single. Let's just do one more solve just in case. Let's go to this random one. -5 frames. Okay. So there he would have started, but let's go to the end. Okay, here he would have ended. Okay. Okay, that's where he started. 1.6 seconds. I know for a fact it's definitely not that slow. Okay, it's 1.44, which is very slow for Yihang Wang. That actually surprised me, but still a lot faster than 1.6. So, what can we conclude from this? Yihang's world record average was probably a sliding one. And sliding consistently gets you around 0.1 to let's say 2 or 3 seconds faster. And that's obviously something that we have to regulate, because that's a big difference, especially in 2x2, where the world record single, it went from 0.43 to 0.39, 0.04 seconds difference. And yet that's enough to create massive, everyone's just like really surprised by this, because it's that crazy. Even 0.04 seconds is enough to make a massive amount of celebration and stuff, obviously, because it's the world record. Anyways, you know what I mean. So I just want to leave this video off with the note that, first of all, it is getting quite dark. I had to improvise using a lava lamp and stuff like that. But second thing is, 2x2 is basically rigged right now. If you slide, you get a world record. If you don't, you have no chance to ever get a world record. But I propose this. Since we have the Speed Stacks 5 timers, the Q5 or whatever they're called. I don't think they're called V5. Anyways, they have 4 pads and 2 pads. For cubing, we usually use 2 pads, but I think at least for 2x2, maybe even 3x3, we should go to 4 pads, okay? Because that means your hands start like this instead of like this, which means it's easy to slide here, but with the thumbs it's a lot harder, I think. I think even using 4 pads, even with that big of a, barrier, it's still gonna go through, the sliding. So I'm worried about the state of 2x2, because it might get so low to the point that even sliding is gonna be like our current non-sliding techniques. It's gonna be ancient compared to whatever they figure out next, whatever they try to, implement into themselves. So I'm worried for 2x2, but I know that the WRC are gonna do something about it. Here, let's even just go back to the video. Add. Anyways, here's the count I was talking about. It's better to frame count the way the WRC does, which is the World Record Commission, committee of the WCA, obviously. First, find the stop frame, then go back the number of frames for the display time, then use that start frame to determine any penalties. I actually didn't read that correctly. So they said go back the amount of frames that the world record was, and if it's obvious that, he was holding the cube at that time, then obviously it's sliding. But what we did was also pretty good. Instead of going from start to finish, we went from finish to start, which sounds counterintuitive. It might be. Oh, I'm stupid. Frames per second is not milliseconds per second. There's 30 frames in a second. Oh, I have to do maths now. Just do the method I did. I can't bother. Yeah. So I showed you guys how to do it. I hope you guys use that information later on to see if you guys are doing it, to see if there's any sliding going on in any records. It doesn't even have to be a world record, even a national record or something that seems too good to be true, like, I don't know, a Rubik's Cube that's your therapist. Sounds too good to be true. Yeah, don't fall for it. Do this kind of evidence first, check it, and if it sounds alright, then it's not sliding. If it's at least 0.2 seconds faster than it should be, then it's probably sliding. Now, the majority of sliding accusations I've seen is obviously from Yihang Wang. He's perfected the technique, but mainly in 2x2. So we gotta be more careful with 2x2s, okay? More so the timers, you know? Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video, and yeah, so we gotta be careful now, because people try to slide, and that's not nice for the rest of us. Anyways, see you guys, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope you do not slide.